We spend our whole lives hearing that we shouldn't compare ourselves, that life isn't a race, and that everyone goes at their own pace. It sounds nice in self-help books, but the reality is that the mind is tricky. It's almost biological. We look around for data, trying to decipher if we are doing well or if we're falling behind. It's a silent oppression, that strange feeling of looking at your childhood friends and feeling like they received an instruction manual that you never got. I've been thinking about my group of friends, the ones from high school, who are still the people I hang out with the most. And it's curious to see how, despite being the same age, we ended up building lives that seem to go in completely opposite directions. When we finished high school, I made a failed attempt to study psychology. The university was too far away, it wasn't my time, and it simply wasn't for me. Right after that, I started working at my father's company, and I spent 8 years there. I started earning money at a very young age. I was making good money, and since I lived with my parents, I didn't have major expenses. Meanwhile, the vast majority of my friends took the classic path. They didn't work, they dove headfirst into long university degrees, and they kept living with their families, completely focused on their studies. But 10 years passed, and today, on the verge of 30, it feels like we took the inverse path. They graduated, they have their degrees, stable jobs, and I assume they make good money. I, on the other hand, left that job. Now my income is very low, I'm in a modest position, and I just started a college degree a few years ago. The contradiction is that I moved out on my own at 25. I've been managing my own space for 5 years, and they are just now starting to leave their parents' house. Some are moving in with their partners, but half of the group is still living with their family. That's where this macabre game of comparison shows up. My mind, searching for data to know if I'm doing well or badly, fragments reality just to make me suffer. In some things I feel like I'm winning, I live alone, I have that independence that they are struggling to find, but in others I feel like they are leaving me far behind because they have their careers, and that stability that I feel is a major missing piece in my life today. It's a ridiculous accounting. How do you win or lose in life? It's horrible to measure the people you love with that ruler. A lot of times I fall into the trap of thinking that everyone else has a perfect life, but many of them struggle with anxiety and even take medication for it, so it's not really that perfect either. And it doesn't just happen with friends. If I look up, I compare myself to my older cousins who already have their lives put together, professional careers established, and make a lot of money. If I look down, I measure myself against my younger cousins who just finished high school, don't work yet, have no financial resources, and are thinking about what to study. And that's where my ego rests because I feel advanced. It's a massive emptiness. We spend our days dissecting other people's achievements to validate our own self-worth, trapped in the trap of feeling like we are ahead in one aspect and behind in another, as if existence were a leaderboard where you can never tie. At the end of the day, you realize that life is too long to measure it like a 100-meter sprint. Maybe an inverse path doesn't exist. Maybe there are only messy human paths full of twists and turns. I gained independence when I was young and structure later in life, even if right now I feel behind in the race I'm supposed to be running. Others gained structure when they were young and independence later, with whatever internal struggles each person might have. No one is late, even if it's much easier to say it than to actually apply it as a positive thought. If you're on the other side, having lunch or dinner in your apartment, and you feel that same tightness in your chest when looking at everyone else's achievements, I'd like to ask you something. Whose ruler are you measuring yourself with today? I'll read your comments below. Let's have dinner together. By the way, before I go, I wanted to share something with you. The voice you are hearing is a digital clone of mine, translated using software because I am not fluent in your language yet. I'm from Argentina. But every single word, every thought, and every story I share here are strictly my own. I wanted to find a way to reach you, no matter how far apart we are. Thank you for staying to have dinner with me.